All right, in this video today, we're going to do some really interesting stuff. I'm going to review a website for the first time, use a couple of tools, use some special searches on Google to see how well the site is optimized, to get a sense of how visible it is, whether there are any opportunities to improve the optimizations or anything basically to help improve the visibility of this website in Google. And I'm going to try to use some of the tools that I've talked about and some general searches. You'll notice that the tools that I'm using are paid tools. Both of these tools have free options, but the free options limit the amount of functionality or visibility to the data. So at some point you will need to invest in simply a 1 month subscription will give you enough time to analyze your own site and your competitors. So let's kick it off. Right, the site that I'm looking at today is called factory.com.au, and I found it browsing around. I'm not familiar with the brand, but apparently looking at the About Us page, it has several hundred stores. So obviously I'm not the demographic. Anyway, let's start. So what I'm going to try to do is just see how the site appears in Google search. So good thing, take the URL. Oops. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to do what's called a site search. And a site search basically says, so you put the site colon and then the URL, and a site search basically says to Google, show me what pages you have in your index. And so by doing this, I can get a quick look at the page titles to see how well they're optimized. And so you can see here the home page is just factory home. It's a generic branded home page. From my perspective, they're really missing an opportunity to optimize this home page for what might be some relevant broad keyword phrases. The home page is going to be the most authoritative page on the website. It attracts the most links. All the links internally feed up to this page. So it's going to have the most authority to rank. So some people feel that it should just be a brand page, the home page. I feel that it should be a mix of both. It's got a good chance to rank for a keyword, whether that's clothing, young clothing, active wear, or whatever the keyword is. So my general opinion is the homepage is poorly optimized. Now looking at all of the other pages, I can see there's just a general sales page. Shop girls. I mean, to me, girls is really general. The keyword phrase girls doesn't really tell you anything. So I think that the girls page, look, there's guys. It could be girls clothing, girls swimwear, whatever it is. I mean, there's opportunities here. So just looking at these pages so far leads me to believe that there are opportunities here to improve the on-site optimization for these pages. Also looking at the meta descriptions. If you see the meta descriptions here, let's go back to page 1. I just want to have a look at that home page again. If my internet speed would comply. It's one of the issues, slow internet. Here we go. So there it is. So that looks to be a decent enough page, a meta description. All right. So once again, just confirming, looking at the pages as they appear in the Google search results, I would suggest that they are not as optimized as they could be. So this is the page here. Let's just navigate to girls and have a look. So this is the category structure. So just as a general thought, this is an e-commerce website. There are typically 3 tiers in a website like this that target 3 levels of keywords. The homepage would target broad keyword phrases. Menswear, women's wear, whatever that keyword phrase is. Well, in this case, let's say it's just clothing. The girls section would target girls clothing or girls wear or whatever it is. And then internally, you could, go to dresses, and at that category level, it would be, I'm not familiar with the product, but it could be young girls dresses or whatever the keyword phrase is. So there's 3 levels of 3 levels in the site, and obviously the deeper you go, the keywords that they target are more specific, have lower search volume, but due to the specificity, well, when they rank, they'll do a lot better. So in this case here, let's just have a look at that. So dresses. I want to get a sense of how the URL structures work as well. So I've just clicked through. Here we go. So you can see up here, it's factory.com.au shop girls dresses. All right, so it's not too bad. I'm just going to test something here. If I just change the sort, you see this URL up here. That can be an issue in terms of creating duplicate content because the page title is still dresses, but this URL this sort functionality generates a new URL with the same page title. There are ways of dealing with it, and I'd have to dig in deeper to figure that out. But at this stage, that's a more technical analysis for another day. So it looks all right. The URLs are neat and clean. The page seems to be well optimized. I would suggest that they could do with some additional content on these pages, because really the dresses page is just a product listing, and there's no compelling content here that would make this a link worthy page, if that made sense. So there's a good opportunity to put up a big text block up here, or put in some reviews or some other content that would make this page more keyword rich and more worthy of attracting links. Right, so what I'm going to do now is grab a tool called SEMRush. Let me just grab that URL first. So what we've determined so far is that the structure of the site seems okay. The optimization seems a little bit weak. I feel it could be improved. So with SEMRush, I'm going to look at the organic visibility of the site. SEMRush is a great tool because without having access to a site, you can stick in the URL and it will tell you what that URL is visible for in the Google search results. So I've just popped it in, click the search button, and I've just selected Australia, obviously, because this is an Australian business. And we'll just sit tight and wait for the search results to appear. All right, now SEMRush has come back and it's given us its analysis of the site. And you can see here it's showing that the site is visible for 899 keyword phrases. This chart here shows that the traffic, based on its analysis, has been increasing over time. The keywords, the number of keywords obviously has been increasing steadily as well. And you can see top 3 results, 4 to 10, etc., etc. So looking down at these keywords that it's visible for, you can see there's a lot of brand search, people searching for factory clothing, etc. That's great, and there's also a demonstrable large volume of brand traffic around this business. So let's see what it is ranking for non-brand stuff. And so the great thing about SEMRush is I can click this filters button and say exclude the keywords containing factory. And I'll also pick up the other traditional spelling of factory. So what I'm doing here is I'm filtering out those brand keyword phrases to see what this site ranks for non-brand. Because at the end of the day, if everyone's familiar with the brand, you're going to get that traffic anyway. You should rank number 1 for your brand term. Okay, here we go. Scroll down here and I can see the keywords. Tees, girls shorts, jelly sandals, shorts, etc., etc. Some of these keywords have great search volumes around them, and they do have good visibility for it too. This website does. However, I would suggest some of them are very broad general phrases. I mean, the search term for girls or just shorts can be very broad. I mean, shorts, is it men's shorts? Is it children's shorts, adult shorts, women's shorts, whatever it is? It's very broad. So to rank on page 1 for shorts is, yeah, okay, but I'd suggest a lot of that traffic is very early stage discovery traffic, and it may not be very relevant to the website. So looking at this, you can see all of the different phrases that they search for. Going back to the website, if we have a look at that, we can see that if we just pop over to the pages, I'm going to click on, let's open up a separate page for guys, and then the girls page, and that'll give us a sense of the on-site optimization. So we know that we're ranking for these phrases. So obviously the phrase, the term girls, and there it is. If you look in the page title for the girls page, you can see that it has girls in it, but not much else. And if you look at the page itself, it's rather thin on content. It's just comprised primarily of images. So not a lot of text content that would differentiate it from the guys page, for example, just a lot of pictures. And the on-site optimizations or the keyword targeting is really quite poor. It's just girls and guys. So at a very preliminary point at this stage, I would suggest that this site could benefit from expanding the on-site optimization. So not just girls in the top there, but it might be girls clothing, young girls clothing, girls activewear, depending on whatever the keyword research indicates and whatever the target market is looking for. So, SEMRush gives us the ability to look at all of that sort of data and get a sense of, okay, this site is optimized for these keyword phrases, it's ranking for certain other ones, and gives us an idea of where we can improve it. Now, the other great thing about this software is it has a site audit functionality. So under site audit, you can put in the URL and it will go and crawl the site and come back with the data. And I've already run the analysis on Factory to save you the wait time. And what it does basically is it sends out its software crawlers. They go through every page on the website and they analyze the pages and try to assess whether some are errored, whether there are problems such as duplicate content, pages with broken links, etc. And what's really important to understand here is that not all of the errors are life-threatening or critical. You need to start to develop a sense of, or an ability to assess what's really important and what's less important. And here we go. So in this case here, the system is saying that there are 1,038 errors and 1,500 warnings. So let's click into the analysis and look a little bit more in detail. The SEMRush tool has a very good top-level site audit functionality. If you sign up for the free account, it'll let you crawl up to 100 pages on a website, which should be enough for most small sites. So here we go. The data is saying that there are 2,600 issues found on this website, 1,038 errors, and we're going to have to dig in more detail to see whether they are really problems. So under the errors, I would suggest anything under the errors is something you need to look at. So in this case here, it's saying there's 262 internal links broken, 259 pages don't have a unique title, and 258 pages that have duplicate content issues. So if we look at the first one, internal links broken, right, it's saying that there are links from these pages to this URL and that they are broken. And they don't look, if I open that up, it always pays to check the URLs and the data yourself, because sometimes the tools have picked up data when maybe this page was inadvertently down, but it looks to be working now, so they don't seem to be broken. So we can kind of ignore the broken links or the broken internal links. Here we are, 259 pages don't have unique page titles, so let's have a look at that. Right, so the home page, the tool is saying that the home page, which has the page title Home Factory, also exists on 2 other pages. And so that's not a major issue. If you click on it, you can see factory.com.au, the currency page, and also the gift card subdomain. They all share the same Home Factory page title. If this was on 500 pages, I'd be more concerned. But just these 2 pages, it's probably just a small technical issue on the site that's generated them. So it's not a major concern. Some of these others are just 111. It's probably worth browsing through to see whether there are other pages where the duplication or the page titles are more duplicated. And here we are. So you can see on the Guys sale page, there are 20 other pages that share the same title. And if you look through to them, you can see their sort pages, currency pages, etc. This may not be an issue in the sense that with further investigation, I might determine that those other pages have what's called a canonical tag, which tells Google, yes, all of these other pages, have the same page title, but they're really just variations of the main page, which is the Guys page. And so the canonical tag would say only include the Guys page in your search results as the one master page. So you need to sort of go through these with an open mind and an investigative mind, and you can see obviously the girls has similar duplicate page titles. So there doesn't look to be anything majorly concerning in the page titles content. So let's go back to the errors and see what else there is. Of more interest is this one. It says 258 pages have duplicate content issues. And if I click on that, it's saying that, if I look through here, let's find one with a lot of pages. So it's saying that the Guys page, there are 10 other pages that have content that it considers is duplicate. So let's click on that, and you can see some of them are just the currency details. But interestingly enough, you'll see the girls page. This software is saying that the content on the girls page is a duplicate of the content on the Guys page, which is quite interesting. And that makes sense, because if you remember, if we go up to here and have a look at the girls page, it's mostly images. Guys page, mostly images. So from Google's perspective, it crawls through this page and there's not a lot of copy, not a lot of text copy that would allow it to determine what this page is about. Outside of the Guys keyword in the page title, what is this page about? I think it's a missed opportunity. And Google is obviously viewing these 2 pages and seeing them as duplicates. So here's the first thing I'd suggest to them is to expand the text copy on these pages, make it more text rich, make it more compelling, create something that's worth linking to, but do it with text. And that would allow this page to rank for keyword phrases more than just Guys, which is what it's optimized for now. So does that make sense? We want to look at that. And so I'd suggest this duplicate content warning is probably something that is worth having a look at. Here we go. You can see the shopping cart's got some duplicate pages, and the girls, that's fine. But basically that's the goal. It tells you where pages are very similar. And the fact the girls and the guys pages are very similar, that the tool considers them duplicates, not a great thing. Now the next error is don't have unique meta descriptions. Now, what is a meta description? In a previous video, I've shown you that if you go to Google and you say, do a Google search for, let's just say, clothing. The meta description is that snippet of text that appears beneath the search results listing, here we are, that tells the viewer what this page is all about. And if you look at ads up here, most people running paid ads spend a lot of time writing and split testing the copy that goes in their ads. And you should too for your meta descriptions for your organic pages, for the primary pages, the home page, the top level category pages, and the second level category pages on an e-commerce site or the service pages. Write a compelling meta description. Why? Because it's like an ad. If I was looking at these top 10 listings, which one of these listings is going to compel me to click through to the website? And in this case here, buy women's clothing online, designer clothing from top Australian and international fashion designers. That's pretty good. If I was into women's clothing, I would click on that and go through. And sometimes you'll see websites where it's not optimized and Google just scrapes up a little bit of copy on the page and pops it in the meta description. So if you don't want Google to create an arbitrary meta description, write your own. So in this case here, looking at the SEMRush data, it's given me a list of all the pages. Now you can see the currency page, not so important. The press page, sure. Some of these other pages, the privacy policy, not that important to have compelling meta descriptions, but you'll see the sizing guide. I'll definitely write one for that. The shop pages for top level categories, I definitely write compelling meta descriptions for those. The individual product pages, I wouldn't bother with that. Product pages typically have a relatively low amount of search volume. And if you're dealing with an e-commerce site, writing compelling, unique meta descriptions for X thousand many products is just going to waste your time and waste your energy. Focus on the top level of the site, the home page, the top level category, and the main category pages. So what else is there to see in the site audit tool? Let's have a look at the warnings. So under the warning section, you can see it's saying there are 1,100 images that don't have alt text and 253 pages have no H1 heading on them. Now, used to be 10, 15 years ago, you know, having a H1 heading with the keyword in it would help. Google's gone way past that now. The fact that this site doesn't have H1 headings is due to the way that this CMS or this content management system is built. These aren't major issues. These are what I would term secondary issues. And yes, they are important. And purists would say, you need to fix these up. It's not ideal. And an SEO company would run a tool over it and give you a big report that would say, oh my God, 253 pages don't have H1s. Go ahead and fix those. But you'll go ahead and fix them and your rankings or your organic visibility won't change at all, right? These are secondary issues. There are other more important areas for you to address first. And those are the ones on the error page. Things like poorly written page titles and meta descriptions, things like thin content, pages with no content on them, things like spammy link profiles. There are other things that you can do that are more important than dealing with all of these secondary warnings. Not to say that you shouldn't get to them eventually, but focus on what's important. It's the old Pareto rule, 80-20, right? 20% of the issues are responsible for 80% of your improvements in organic visibility. So let's review. What I've done is I've looked at the factory website in the search results. I've looked at the on-site optimizations. I've looked at the way the URLs are put together. Looked at the link profile and assessed that, you know, overall this website is pretty solid. Right, now what I want to do is look at the the link profile of this website. So I'm going to take the domain factory, and SEMRush does have a link analysis tool, but it's not as comprehensive as the Ahrefs tool. So I'm going to pop the URL in there and click the Site Explorer, and let's have a look at this domain. What I'm looking for here is the nature, the quality of the link profile and how natural it is. So in this case here, you can see I've got links from 218 referring domains, 4,700 links. This orange line here is the number of websites linking to the factory site, and you can see it's growing over time, which is great. Scroll down a little bit, I can see the geographic distribution of the links. So I'm getting the majority from Australia, which makes sense given the Australian nature of the business. The anchor text cloud are primarily brand links, which is great. So there's been no attempt to try to rank for specific keywords with aggressive spammy link building, which is good. And if I scroll up here and click on referring domains, I can have a look at the individual domains themselves, the sites that are linking to this site. And just from a quick glance, I can see that there's a few good local directories, and the majority seem to be, let's have a look. If I click this button here, it'll show me the backlinks from each of these sites. And you'll see that a lot of these links seem to be naturally given or editorially given. So, you know, these are fashion blogs, model blogs. Here we go. Factory top model. Right, so that looks natural to me. It doesn't look like a spammy link. If I just go to the next one and scroll around, let's try this one here. I like to drill through the link profiles and browse around and have a real look at the links, the sites that are linking, to get a real sense of whether they're natural or whether they're manufactured. And in this case here, most of the links to this site, if they load up, seem to be natural. So this is another fashion blogger, and it looks to be people are either buying the product and taking pictures and linking back to the catalogs, which is great. So these are the sorts of links you want, right? So let's look at this again. Overview. So the link profile for Ahrefs looks for the factory website looks pretty good. Good number of referring domains, good number of backlinks, it's steadily growing. The links themselves are naturally given. They're primarily from Australia. So to me, this makes sense. It's a natural editorially given link profile. I don't see any evidence of manipulative or spammy link building. So if I take a step back, let's review what we've done. I've looked at the site, the factory site, how it appears in the search results, and that's given me an indication that the pages are not as optimized as they could be. I've browsed through the structure, the URL structure, and looked at the pages, and it seems to me that the page is, you know, relatively well structured. The URLs are search engine friendly, easy to read and understand. They tell you where you are. The on-site issues that I've identified are the fact that not a lot of the pages themselves have any copy outside of the product listings, or B, these gateway pages, which are just images, right? So Google doesn't really know what these pages are about. There's a missed opportunity to rank for more semantically related keyword phrases by writing some more compelling copy here, adding a big text block, adding some reviews or some additional copy there that would add value to the page, more information, some good opportunities there. The link profile looks quite natural. It's pretty good. So the opportunity for the factory website for me is to improve the organic visibility by doing some additional keyword research, identifying the broader range of keyword phrases that this site has an opportunity to rank for that are relevant to the target market, and write more broad page titles and meta descriptions. So instead of just saying, if you look here, girls factory or guys factory, it might be girls clothing or girls activewear or girls swimwear or casual girls dresses or things like that. So whatever the phrases are that keyword research identifies, it would be writing them in these page titles and meta descriptions. And that way you would find that the number of keywords that this page would rank for, would get found for, would grow. You get more targeted traffic to the site, and hopefully they would spend more money. And that's my general process of reviewing a site when someone comes to me initially and says, hey, what do you think? That gives me a quick sense of what the issues are, whether there's any technical or site issues that might be impacting its organic visibility, and what the opportunities there are to improve it. I'll try to do additional videos with different businesses to give you a more sense of how those other sites do.